Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today. So ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very much important because what I'm about to say it's massively massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. By so saying, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So in today's lesson, I'm going to quickly take you through question number 5 of this 2021 November paper 1 mathematics exam paper. So just make sure, guys, that you pay full attention to all the details, and most importantly, guys, before I go far with today's lesson, just make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so that every time when I upload a lesson, you get to be notified of the lesson so that you don't miss out. So under question number 5, you are given f of x, which is equals to -1 over x minus 3 plus 2. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be answering all these questions, but what I'm going to be doing is to guide you in terms of how you answer these questions. Most importantly, if you'd like to watch a lesson where I teach you guys how to answer these questions, just make sure to check under the description of this video. You might find a link there that directs you to my Telegram classroom where I do live lessons with my 2021 learners. So just make sure not to miss out. Okay, so this is what you are given. F of x is equals to -that over that plus that. Most importantly, you need to be able to know or notice the type of a function that you are given. Remember, you've got a straight line, you've got a parabola, you've got a hyperbola, you've got an exponential. These are the 4 types of functions that you might expect in your exam. In addition to that, you might be dealing with some log functions and most importantly some other cubic functions, but for now let's maybe focus on this one that we are given in this question 5. So this type of a function is what we call a hyperbola. I hope I got the spelling correctly there. I'm not sure if that R is there, but if it's not there, just make sure it's not there when you write your notes. If it's there, it's fine. But most importantly, you need to be aware that you are dealing with a hyperbola. Let me just give you a very quick background of hyperbola. So this is how you interpret a hyperbola. It is y that's equals to a. Let me quickly talk about the a value. If your a, it is positive, that means your function, it is going to be in the first and third quadrant generally. And if your a, it is negative, that means you are going to have your function in the second and fourth quadrant. So can you see, in this case we are given our a being a negative a value, meaning generally we are expecting our function to be drawn on the second and fourth quadrant. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So let me just quickly remove all of that and move on to the next part of that function. Let me also, I shouldn't have removed that. Okay, so over x normally plus q. So let me explain this part of that general equation. So what happens there, this part, it actually helps you to get the x asymptote or the vertical asymptote. What you would do is to take this thing exactly as it is, so whatever that you are given there, in this case you're given that, so you would take it as x minus 3, you equate it to 0, and then you transpose, then you solve for x, your x it's equals to positive 3. So that positive 3, it is actually your vertical asymptote. You have 1, 2, 3. So this is where you are having your vertical asymptote, where x it's equal it's equals to 3. This is what the part of that formula helps you to find. It helps you to find the x asymptote, and then now we have plus q over there. So that q, you take it as it is. In that case, it is positive 2. So that means you have your horizontal asymptote crossing at where y it is equals to positive 2. With you remembering what I've just explained, to say if your a value it is negative, that means generally you have your function in that quadrant. So now this is the second quadrant of your broken lines or your asymptotes. So this is where you are having your second quadrant and your fourth quadrant of your new axis, that one and also that one. So that means these asymptotes, they actually tell us by how much our function has shifted. If we just had y, it's equals to a over x. That means we have our asymptote, which is just 0 there and another one being 0 there. So that means our asymptotes were actually hidden inside your axis. You were not able to see those because your x axis and your y axis are just a solid straight lines, so you cannot see those axes in there or the asymptotes. Then you would just have your sketch like that. But the moment we have negative 3 there, we have plus 2, it tells us that our function has shifted by 3 units to the right, as you can see there, and also by 2 units upwards, as you can see there. That's why when we draw a function, it goes like that. I hope you guys did understand what I've done over there. So let me just make use of this opportunity to erase all of that, and then from there we try to discuss all those questions. Once we are done discussing all those questions, then on my next lesson I'm going to do another question on the same paper. Once you guys are done with paper 1, then I'm going to release some more of this type of videos for paper 2. So good people, just in case if you've got any questions, just make sure to drop a comment in the comment section. Also, if you've got a suggestion or you'd like for a specific question to be reviewed, just drop a comment there. And most importantly, guys, just make sure to like this video so that I've got an indication of how you receive this type of content, so that I can be able to improve when necessary. Okay, so quickly, let's try to work out that first question. They say 5.1, this is what they are saying. Write down the equations of the asymptote. Can you notice that as there? It means the equations. So that means you might need to provide 2 equations for you to get the 2 marks. So you're just going to say x is equals to whatever, and then y is equals to whatever. This is where you are going to get your x value by equating that to 0, and then you solve for x. And then that one exactly as it is with its sign, you give it as the y a value for the asymptote. So that's how you basically answer that question. So now the second question, 5.2, write down the domain of f. The way the domain, it wants you to focus on the x values. If they were talking about the range, then you focus on the y values. So normally this is where you focus on in order to get what is it, your domain. So normally one would say x is the element of real numbers, but x, it is not equals to 3. Why? Because where x is 3, that's where you are having your asymptote there where x is 3. So whatever from 3 in that direction, and again whatever from 3 in that direction, but not that point where x, it is equals to 3. That's when you mean, or that's what you mean by that, saying x is the element of real number, but not where x is equals to that. So if it was 7 there, you might still do the same and say x not equals to 7. If it was positive 3, not x is equals to what is it, negative 3. Why negative 3? Remember, you equate this thing to 0, then you solve for x. Whatever the value that you get after you've solved for x, that is the one that you write there. So just make sure not to miss my upcoming live lesson, so that you have a better understanding when I explain that in detail. But for now, let's quickly move on to the next question, being 5.3, that one. So 5.3 says determine the coordinates of the x-intercept. Most importantly, that weight, this is the cream of the question. They want you to determine the coordinates. This is how you represent the coordinates. Don't find yourself giving a final answer and then you leave it there. This is the format at which you write the coordinates. So already you know very well that where they say x-intercept, that's where you let a y to be equals to 0. Then you solve for x. Whatever x value that you get, please make sure to write it there. This one you already know that it is 0. So whatever x value that you get, please write it there. That's how you find the coordinates. That is the format that we use to write the coordinates. Don't just leave your final answer. Okay, 5.4, write down the coordinates of the y-intercept. Same thing. They want the coordinates of the y-intercept. That's where you let what is it, x to be 0. So you know that you're going to give the coordinates where x is 0, then you just put 0 there, and then you start solving for y value. Obviously you just punch all of that on a calculator, unlike when I say all of that, I include that too. So on the previous equation you had to put 0 there, x there, then you solve for x, which is a lengthy calculation that you need to perform. After you calculate or you punch all of this on your calculator, whatever that you get, please write it there so that you answer the question which wants you to provide the coordinates. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you pay full attention to all the details. The last question being 5.5, it says draw the graph of f. Clearly show all the asymptotes and intercepts with the x. Okay, so they want you to draw a graph of f. Where is f? This is the function. So they actually want you to draw the given function. So most importantly, clearly show all the asymptotes, and this is where you got your two asymptotes, and the intercepts with the x's. So this is in plural, so that means they want you to show the two x's that you got. So you got the x intercept there and the y intercept there. All that you do, most importantly, you start with the Cartesian plane when you draw. a function, the x and the y, you know this is the origin there. Now you do the asymptotes. You know that you've got let me just have enough space there to say you are having one of your asymptotes there, and then that's where that is that, and then you have another one there where that is what is it, 2 there. And then after you calculating your intercept, I'm suspecting you are going to have a shape similar to that. How do I know? It is because I know that our a value, it is negative, so I know the quadrants in which your function should be. So you might be having something looking almost the same as that. Let me just try to draw it nicely there. I just want you to be aware that your function must never touch or cross the asymptote. So you might end up having something similar to that, where you are given your 1, 2, 3 marks. So that's how you score 10 marks for this question. So good people, I think I'm going to end it here. Just make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of every time when I upload a new video, and most importantly, please do like and comment with your questions, suggestions, or whatever in relation to today's lesson. So guys, I do thank you very much for joining. My name is Desmond and I'm out.